Kia ora and welcome to another Wellbeing Wednesday with me, Sarah and Becoming Healthy. So change is something that is pretty constant in human life, in fact in all life, and we come across it every day, yet sometimes when those changes become a bit big or sometimes when those changes trigger other people, we can start to ruminate about them, become a bit anxious, become a bit stressed about the change. So this week I thought I would focus my tapping and hand reflexology combo on change. So those moments when you know change is coming up and it feels quite nerve-wracking for you, maybe it's a change in a job or a change of house, or it may be that you're going through changes in your physical body. So for example, you're in the process of healing, or you've got hormonal changes, or even that you've got a change of mindset, and that's maybe triggering other people to react to you differently, or friendships are changing and sort of dropping away or coming on. So all of those can be impacted with this little tapping and hand reflexology combo. So just thinking about the change that you're experiencing, or if you're not experiencing any major change, just about how you would normally react to a big change, and scale it on a rate of 0 to 10, where 0 is there's no emotion, you're really good with change, you just adapt to it straight away, no worries, no thinking about it, and 10 is that you start stressing about it, you start worrying about what the future's going to hold, what the changes will mean. And then we're going to just start our tapping. So I'm going to use quite generic words, just saying these changes. But obviously, the more specific you can be, the more beneficial it will be for you. For example, if you've got a change of job, you can use that, this change of job rather than just these changes. So I'm going to tap on the karate chop point to start off with. So even though I have these changes in my life that are causing me a bit of stress and anxiety, I love and accept myself. Even though I have changes going on in my life that are making me unsure about the future and even about my present sometimes, I love and accept myself. Even though I have these changes going on in my life, my boat's being rocked a little bit, and sometimes people around me are getting their boat rocked too. I love and accept myself and how I feel, and maybe everyone else who's involved. So we're going to go through the points now, starting on the eyebrow. All these changes. Side of the eye, all these changes. Under the eye, all these changes. Under the nose, all these changes. Under the mouth, all these changes. Collarbone, all these changes. Under the arm, all these changes. Final point, top of the head, all these changes. So take a deep breath in and release, and then scale yourself on that 0 to 10 scale, seeing where you are now. Ideally, we want to get right down to a 0 so that we've sort of cleared all that stress or, might be memories of the past, the changes that haven't gone well before. We want to clear those all out. But sometimes that doesn't always work. We have to do that in multiple sittings. So from here on in, you can either alternate with the hand reflexology I'm about to do, or you can keep going with the tapping and work it down. Thankfully, you've got the video. You can stop and start and replay whenever you like. So we're going to move on to our hand reflexology component. So we'll start our warm-up, just flexing our wrists, as we always do, preparing the body, letting it know something's coming, and some hand rotations. Now, I usually work these quite fast so that I can make these videos less than 15 minutes, but you can take your time, stop, and make the most of it. And then we're just going to do some finger rotations. So I'm actually writing the reflexology section of my upcoming book, Take It Back, which is all about regaining your health and well-being without breaking the bank. And I have got a part in there just saying, it's important when you're doing this to take your time, make it a nice setting, we space by yourself where you're not going to get disturbed, so you can actually just focus and fully relax. It's just as important. Now I'm showing you with my hands up, but ideally you'll have them resting on a pillow and rotating this way. both ways. Then we're going to do our little finger boogie. So this is using our index finger and our thumb on one hand to grip the side of the nail bed and just do that kind of back and forth action on the other finger. It's a really good one for loosening up the fingers and warming them up. So each finger going along. We had a hand reflexology night last night, which was great. We were able to donate $60 to a charity. But one of the questions was, does it matter if I start on the thumb or the little finger? And it doesn't really. Not for the purposes of these anyway. Right. So change is a bit of a strange one as far as it's not really a physical thing that we can work on, but quite often with change, we start to get all up in our heads. We ruminate about things, we stress, we work out. So for that reason, we're going to actually work the thumb and the rest of our fingertips really well, that first section, because these relate to our head reflexes. So just working it all really well. And the great thing about reflexology is that it's a really good balancing tool. So, for example, if the stress about change is making you ruminate and you're racing around in your thoughts and feeling panicked, working these fingertips, the head reflexes, will actually help your brain to calm down a little bit. If you've gone into that kind of freeze mode, brain fog of, it's just too overwhelming, I can't think about it, working these head reflexes will actually help your thoughts to come back and be a bit more productive. So it works both ways, no matter what the symptoms sort of are. It helps balance the body. So as I said, I'm going through a little bit faster just to make sure that I keep in the time limit, but you can stop and take your time, working the fronts and the backs and the tops of your head reflexes on those fingertips. Keeping up the good breathing as you go. So I'm not going to worry about the necks too much today, but you can if you find that you hold the tension in your necks. But what I am going to do is the shoulder line. So it's right at the base of the fingers, so it's not coming onto the palm yet. It's kind of right on that base, that line across. And we're just going to work on that. You can even sort of hang down and up, press down with your fingers. Because when we've got lots of change, we've got lots of jobs to do something, we can sort of tense up. So it's just relaxing that area. So either a glide across that top bit or pulling down. Now I don't put any lotion or wax on when I'm showing you on here, but obviously at home you've got the luxury of a bit more time. You can put some wax on to help this gliding be all the smoother. So that's our shoulder line. The next bit we're going to work is our diaphragm. So it's along sort of at the base of the metacarpal heads where it bends, and it comes all the way to the base of the thumb. You can either work this line, or quite often people just work across here. Both is fine. So ideally you'll have your hand down and you can just work with your thumb, but you can't really see what I'm doing there, so I'm going to work up with my fingers to work. So you can glide along. And again on this line, if you want to work it a bit more, you can sort of press and bend your hand down to work that. So this is working the diaphragm line, which will help that breathing in the chest area to expand and open up, because quite often when we get into that stressed way of being, our breath becomes shallower as we prepare to run away from the danger. Even when we have a danger that's in our head and we can't actually run away from it, our body has evolved to still, go into that fight or flight mode. So just working that diaphragm. And then we're going to work our solar plexus point. So this is on the diaphragm line, and it's between, if you make Spock fingers coming in, and we're just going to really gently pulse. If you feel lightheaded or it makes you feel a bit funny, you can just hold your thumb on that point and breathe at the same time. Otherwise, you just depress a little bit as you breathe in and release as you breathe out. And I like to do this at least 3 times. If it feels nice, you can do it more. So we've done one hand, and then we'll find the same spot, our Spock fingers, can't do it quite so well on this one, and here. And again, if there's any weird sensations that don't feel nice, just hold your thumb there as you breathe. Okay. Now the other area I'm going to work, which is, I guess, a bit more metaphorical, but, quite often with change, it's about being adaptable and being able to go with the flow. And one of the joints in our bodies that can stop us doing this are our knees. And often when people have trouble with their knees, the emotional base of that can be that kind of being stuck in their way and a bit of ego, not wanting to go other people's route, not want to be flexible and flowing. So we're actually going to work down the limb. So this is our section from the base of our pinky to the heel of our hand, this area. And about halfway along is, covering my mouth, about halfway along is the knee reflex and also the elbow. So we're going to work into that, so that we've got nice, flexible, flowing knees so we can go along with the changes. So you can work the whole area as well, shoulders at the top and feet and hands down the bottom, because that's the other area that can get affected, is those feet not wanting to move forward. So we'll start with the knee, loosening that up. You can press into it, or you can just rotate on the spot, or just even glide. And then we'll do the whole hand. So we're getting our shoulder at the top, which is at the base of the pinky, and then our feet down the bottom. And the final point I'm going to do for this, for change and just getting out of our head and into the present moment in our body and just calm a little bit more, are the adrenals, which also sit on top of the kidneys. So we're going to almost get both of them just in this little stroke. And the kidneys, an emotional base to that is to do with fear. So sometimes when there's change coming up, it can be fearful. And obviously our adrenals get fired up when we get into that stressful way of being. So we're going to milk them using our fingers and our thumb. And we're kind of going to go into the palm a little bit more, so we engage those kidneys as well. And just a gentle stroking and pulling up. So it's like this kind of action. You might end up with your thumb on top if you've got your hand down. So you'll be like this, that's fine. Doesn't matter how many hands you use, as long as you've kind of got that action where you're coming up and just gently, not pinching, just gently, it's called milking in reflexology, that area. Stroking it up, I guess. Just calming them down. Nice. And we'll just give our hands a bit of a shake out. And we'll give them a hug from our shoulder down to our fingertips. You can do this a couple of times. I'm just going to do it once, top and bottom. So all the way down to the fingertips, and then starting at the elbow again underneath, so they get all around the arm, down to the fingertips. And then just putting hand on hand, taking a few deep breaths. And even those deep breaths will be amazing to help you with the changes coming ahead. Whether it's physical or emotional or situational, it will help. Nice. And then just slowly separate your hands, feeling the energy between them. Great. So I hope that you enjoyed this tapping and hand reflexology combo on change, and helping you to be in the best position to engage in the change that's happening and enjoy it and embrace it. So as I said, you can either do the tapping and then come back to the hand reflexology and alternate the two, or just work on the tapping first and then do this as a nice relaxation at the end. If you've got any comments, I'd love to hear them down below, good, bad or otherwise, because I am keen to improve and give you what you need and want. Please like and subscribe, share if you want to, so that more people can be helped to be thriving rather than just surviving. And if you've got any ideas for topics that you'd like me to cover, please also let me know. So until next week and a new topic, have a great day, have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday.